right. Thank you everyone for joining us. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to Coaching for Change. My name is Francesca Moore Maxwell, and I'm the founder and managing director of Synco for Leadership. And I'm here to offer some quick tips, tools, tricks, and hacks to help you incorporate more and amplify more of a person-centered approach in the way that you work. And I'm offering this from my 18 years of experience in the human services field. So I'm very excited to be here with you all today and to talk more with you about how person-centered approaches and practices are transforming the way that we support our clients and communities across the country, and even helping to support our colleagues in more person-centered ways. I'd like to tell you more about Synco for Leadership. We are helping to reinvent the wheel. Poverty reduction initiatives are nothing new, and they require bold, innovative approaches that honor the lived experiences of families and individuals experiencing poverty with honesty, curiosity, and a commitment to equitable solutions. That's why we work with organizations nationwide to help them more fully embrace person-centered methods that reimagine service delivery by placing the individual served at the heart of every initiative. Before we jump in, if you hear anything you like, or if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to drop those in the chat box if you're joining us live. If you're watching the replay, please reply in the comments, and we will be happily to reply to your questions or comments there if you're watching the playback. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with your entire network and help us to spread the person-centered approach as far and wide as we can. All right, now that we've done that, let's get started. Today, we want to talk about the difference between a fixing mindset and a coaching mindset. I am someone who really enjoys words and what they mean. And so I know that we say this word a lot in our society. What is, a mindset? You have a certain type of mindset. I wanted to explore more of what a mindset is and where it comes from. So a mindset is essentially the way that we think, view, and approach the world. So let's break this word down. Mind in this word means to refer to your thoughts. It refers to your thoughts, beliefs, and attitudes. And it's also how you process the information you get. It's the mental space where you store knowledge, your perception, your emotions, and these things guide the way that you make decisions and the behaviors that you have, the behaviors you exhibit. On the other side of it, say that become ingrained over time based on your experience, the information that you have, and your perceptions. All right. So it's like your own personal algorithm. It's the cheat code. Okay. It establishes the way that you're going to think about a certain thing, believe about a certain thing, even the assumptions that you make. And not only is it going to do that, it's going to guide the way that you make decisions and how you operate in the world. It's really important to be aware of your mindset because this is the filter that everything that happens to you and around you gets filtered through. Like I said, it's like your own personal algorithm. Just like on your Instagram or your TikTok, it shows you more of what you watch. Okay, it shows you more of what it knows you're interested in. It's the same thing when it comes to this. All right, it's important to know that our mindset is dynamic and it's influenced not only by our experiences, but it's also influenced by what we know, what we believe we know, and even information that we're missing. Okay, so it's important to recognize that your mindset is about your experiences, but it's also a lot based on information. Over the last several years, we've kind of been introduced to a new word in our lexicon, a word that says misinformation. Well, misinformation is information that is not factual, right? And so our mind is also taking in information we think we have, information we have, and information that we're missing, all to help us make decisions. Okay, we don't have time when we're at a red light to go through all of the rationale for why we should stop. That's why there is a mindset around how we move, the rules of the road, and how we move and get from point A to point B safely. And that's the same thing that our mindset is there for. So the mindset isn't a bad thing. It's really just an amalgamation of your experiences, beliefs, and values. Okay, the issue is when we don't take time to really examine our mindset and what is controlling our mindset. Okay, is the information that is informing our mindset outdated? Does it no longer serve us? Is it actually in direct opposition for what I intend to do? All of those things are important because if we don't take a moment to pull back and examine the mindsets that we hold, we could be moving around in a world based on our defaults, okay? Default settings rather than being like an active participant in it. Okay, I want to make it really simple for everybody. Your mindset is a habit of the mind. That's all it is. All right, and just like any other habit, you can break it. Okay, you can develop new habits and you can form new ideas about how you interpret the world and how you interact in the world around you. On the screen are just a few things that we should know about the nature of a mindset. We should just flat out say, hey, we're not here to paint a fairy tale for you. The older these mindsets are, the more difficult they are to change. Okay. When I was growing up, I heard it said you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't necessarily believe that. I just think that it might take a little more training in order to get there. Okay. Because with any habit, it is developed over time. They can be developed, as we see there. They shape our perceptions of the world and what is real and what is true and what is good. It is the barometer with which we judge everything around us and in our orbit. Everyone has this thing that works inside of them. It tends to be self-deceptive. All right. Your mindset tends to shape you, to paint you in the best light possible because you are the best person you know. Or depending on the mindset and the habits of mind that you've developed. And this is not just true for us, but this is also true for those that we're working with in human services. Okay. They come in with a set of beliefs, values, and experiences that inform what they do, what they're willing to do, how fast or how slow they get these things done. And so it's important for us to recognize not only how our mindsets impact our work, but also the fact that folks that are coming to work with us have their own completely different mindset. What we want you to know is that your mindset is just that. It is yours. Okay. Your beliefs are just that. They are yours. And just like you have a mindset that guides your world, so do the folks that you work with. All right. And so what we're doing in person-centered approaches is looking to surrender and say, hey, look, I'm not here to get in a fight with you about who's right and who's wrong. I'm here to understand more about the way that you think so that I can provide the best services for you. Okay. Based on what I know. Okay. And so there are these mindsets become really, really important because they really shape what we do and who we're willing to do it for, how far we're willing to go. Okay. Our mindsets color the entire world around us. We know two very important mindsets. I think what really brought everything to the forefront was this concept of a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Growth mindset says, I believe that I can develop the abilities that I need in order to get what I want. Versus a fixed mindset that says, hey, I got what I got. You know, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit. I have what I have, and I won't be able to increase them in order to get something different. That's a fixed mindset. And no, you may not believe that about everything in every area of your life, but if you believe it in just one, then that's what we've identified as a limiting belief. I can't see your hands right now, but I would love to see it in the chat. How many of you all have been working with someone and came face to face with the limiting belief they have about something that they can or cannot do? Okay. I know that across all of my years of experience, I ran into it every day. And I even had experiences where talking to someone else revealed limiting beliefs that I had in my own life. Okay. And so being aware of how someone's inner critic is impacting their ability to make decisions is an important part of being person-centered and even providing these coaching experiences that we hope to give folks. Okay. And so we have these two mindsets, even in human services, that I want to talk about really quickly today. And that's the fixing mindset and the coaching mindset. All right. And I want us to know that this is a spectrum. Okay, no, we're not all solidly one or all solidly another. Most of the time, we're moving up and down this spectrum between these two mindsets in our practice. All right, but that's what the point of practice is. Practice expects that it won't be perfect, but we have to do it every day in order to get better at it. We have to become good at recognizing the mindset that we're holding. So let's talk about the fixing mindset. The fixing mindset is a non-collaborative approach that focuses solely on resolving the problem without engaging the participants' insights, experiences, or even knowing what their goals are. All right. In this mindset, the coach assumes the role of the expert, offering solutions, making decisions, and sometimes overriding the participant's choice. All right. Now you all don't have to raise your hand because I know none of you would do this, but I'm just talking about me and what I've experienced over my time of working in direct services. From time to time, I found myself slipping into this fixing mindset. It wasn't because I thought that the person wasn't capable of doing it or wasn't willing to do it, or frankly, that I just knew better than them. But it was because a lot of different things impacted my own mindset about the world and what I was capable of doing inside of my work. And so while this mindset is well intentioned, it puts a limit on how well and how far the participant will be able to grow, their level of confidence in their own abilities, and also their ability to take ownership of their journey. All of the work that we're doing here is to make sure that we're helping someone build the skills so that when I am no longer there, okay, to help them on the day-by-day walkthrough, they're able to do it for themselves. But we rob folks of that opportunity when we engage solely in this fixing mindset. All right. But I want to say that there is a lot of empathy for the fixing mindset. Trust me, like I said, I come from 18 years of experiences in this field. I know what it's like to be overwhelmed with deadlines. Anybody? Okay, overwhelmed with the deadlines. I got more work than I have actual time in the work hours to get it done. Okay, the pressure to meet those deadlines and to manage heavy caseloads, it makes it hard to sit with a client and truly listen to what they have going on. And in those moments, we often default back to the quick fixes so that we don't feel like we've wasted their time. So we can feel like we actually did a good job. We did what we're here to do. And so there's empathy for this, but we have to recognize when we're in that fixing mindset so that we can make a decision to have more explorative, deeper, and more collaborative conversations with folks. Well, that's not the only thing. Anybody ever had to work with limited resources? I know I have. Okay. When there is a lack of the right tools and the right programs or even solutions that can truly address the needs of the client, we might feel powerless. And so what we tend to do is go right into fixing mode, offering short-term solutions rather than exploring long-term strategies, because I'm a little bit nervous that we might not have what you need. And we all know that most of us are dealing with those things that say we need to see X number of people in a week. I'm just saying that's the experience that I've had. What about when we get stuck in those routines? When we get stuck in the routine of working with people and folks start to look a little more familiar to us, okay? Kind of, you heard it. If you heard it once, you've heard it all. And if you just give me the wheel, I can get there because I know what this is all about. In a lot of ways, this work kind of can make you a hammer that sees everything as a nail. That means everything needs a solution. Everything needs a solution. And we kind of judge the value of our work on how much or how quickly we can get to a solution. Well, this routine thinking reduces the space for creativity and collaboration, and it reinforces a pattern of fixing rather than shifting us toward a coaching approach. All right. So let's talk about the coaching mindset. It's kind of like on the other end of that spectrum that I showed you. The coaching mindset is a collaborative approach that centers the participant's knowledge, experience, and goals in the coaching process. The coach views the participant as the expert. That means they're always in the driver's seat of their life. That's a part of being trauma informed. That's a part of being healing informed, is that you hold at the core of everything you do the belief that they can do it if they have the right supports. And so what the coach does is assume the position of guiding and supporting them in creating their own solutions. All right. This mindset prioritizes reflective listening, respect for the participant's choice, and trust that their abilities will lead to conversation and progress toward their goals. That's what we need to have in a coaching mindset. Okay. Coaching mindset starts at the relationship, not the solution. And for a lot of us, we've kind of flipped those two things. We need to start at the solution. And then as long as I can give you a solution, I can build a relationship. And I want us to be reminded that that's not the case. People need coaching. People need coaching for long-term transformation. People need fixing for transactional things. When there is an emergency, it's not time to coach. All right? It's not time to coach. It's time to do some fixing. But having a fixing approach and having a fixing mindset are two different things. I'm a hammer and I see everything as a nail. That's a mindset. I'm a hammer, and it just so happens that I need to nail that thing right now. I'm going to use my abilities to do that. Recognizing that I have a full tool belt. That's why it's important for us as practitioners to constantly be expanding our tool belt, gaining more skills, gaining more tools that allow us to be diverse, to pivot toward the approach that will best help meet that participant's needs. I'm not going to take time to go through all of these exhaustively, but here's a pretty concise list of what it looks like when someone is engaging in a fixing mindset. You may hear those strong remarks against a participant's choice, or focus solely on the problem, or fill in the silence with talking. Okay. I know that I was really bad about that. I started sitting on my hands for 8 seconds to hold the silence, because I would get so nervous. I would just try to fill the space because I felt like I didn't have the answers that they needed. Okay. On the other side, the coaching behaviors that show up as a result of this mindset, it looks like respecting their choice. It looks like allowing for that discomfort and silence. People need time to process. People need time to sit and process. Okay. Especially those who are under the pressure of economic strain. Most of the time, they're constantly upregulated, dealing with crisis and burning buildings, and what's all the spinning multiple plates, all of the euphemisms we have for people being really busy. Okay. And so what we're doing in the coaching approach, when we're allowing that silence, is giving a person a time for their mind to actually catch up and be a part of the decision-making process. But when we don't hold that silence, we're not supporting them being able to access those executive function skills that would allow them to really be the driver of their life. And another thing about those behaviors in coaching is that we ask for permission before we offer suggestions. Okay. We ask for permission before we offer those suggestions. No one asks for your 2 cents. So keep it. That's all I have on that one. Let's go ahead and give you all some tips about how we do this. How do I undock from my default? How do I get away from that default mindset, that default way of thinking? Okay, I have 4 things I want to lift up really quickly as we start to bring this thing to a close. The first thing is to pause and reflect before the session. I cannot be person-centered if I'm not first self-centered. I'll have another way of saying that. We're not here to be martyrs. We're not here to prove how much of ourselves we can give to other people and put ourselves at the very back of the line. That's an outdated, outmoded, debunked way of doing this work. It just does not work. And so you have to take time to take a moment before the meeting. Okay. And not just that, but also create practices of self-care for yourself in this work, because this work is heavy. Okay. It requires a lot of us emotionally and mentally. And so you need to pause before the session and check your mindset. Okay. Are you in fixing mode? Are do you need the validation of solving someone's problem? Are you overwhelmed and you don't really have the capacity to sit with the person and go through the questions and ask them the things that would allow them to come to their own solutions? Then now is the time for me to make a switch, for me to be intentional about that, to say, let me put aside what I was dealing with for this moment and be locked in for the person that's sitting in front of me. So that's the first thing. The second thing is to ask questions and not jump to giving solutions. We've already kind of talked about this before, but sometimes it feels good. It just flows out of us. Okay. But rather than doing that, we want you to pause and we want you to ask some questions of them. Okay. An example of this would be, what do you think would help you move forward? Rather than me giving a solution. How do you see this situation? Tell me, explain from my perspective how you see the situation. Okay. These kind of questions keep the conversation person-centered, and they are encouraging the individual that you're speaking with to explore their own ideas and insights. Okay. Number 3, hold back your judgments. Really, I probably should have put this as number 1, Amber. I probably should have put this one as number 1. This is where you should really start here, is to hold back those judgments when you're getting the conversations with folks. Because when you sit down and someone starts telling you their story and you've been doing this work for, I would say if you've been doing this work for more than a year, okay, a flood of experiences are going to come back to you, and your mind is going to try to jump to the solution, because that's what our brains are wired to do. I won't get into my brain science geeky stuff, but that's literally what our brain is designed to do, is to find a conclusion as quickly as possible. Okay. And so what we're offering you today in order to undock from that default is to hold back that judgment, place it on the shelf. Hey, I'm just going to sit this right over here. I recognize that this is what I think. I'm going to put it here and I'm going to allow myself to be fully present in what's going on. And I'm going to ask questions like, can you help me understand what led you to this decision? Instead of, why did you do that? I'm going to take a curious approach versus a judgmental approach. And I'm going to suspend my first judgment about what I think. And I'm going to assume that there's more to the story. And now I'm on a fact-finding mission. I need to know what else is to this story because I clearly don't. I know that I don't have it all. And the only way I can get more of it is ask those questions of the person sitting in front of me. And then number 4 is to create room for silence. We've already talked about this. Resist the urge to fill every moment with something. Allow for those pauses, allow for people to have a moment to process. Okay. I remember 2020 being in the house with my daughter who was 4 at the time. And I tell you, there's nothing more that I wanted than some silence after that. I used to be someone who fell asleep with the TV on, listening to music all the time. And now at this beautiful age that I am, my daughter happily out of the house and back at school for both of us, I love some silence. And so you can give your participants the gift of silence by being willing to hold the awkwardness of it for at least 8 seconds. 8 seconds seems short when you say it, but if I were to pause this conversation for 8 full seconds, it might start to get a little odd. Okay, let it happen. Trust me, your participants will appreciate it and thank you for it. We love to wrap things up with a pretty bow here. And so here's our pretty bow. Remember that mindsets are habits of the mind that can be changed through recognition and intentional action. But the thing here is you cannot change what you cannot or will not see. And that means you have to be intentional about examining the mindsets that you hold, okay? About questioning and interrogating your intentions behind the way that you show up in these meetings, not only in your work life with your clients, but also with your colleagues, with yourself. Okay. And even in your personal life, I tell people all the time, Amber, and I tell each other all the time how much doing this work has ruined our lives in all of the best ways. Because now I can't pretend that I don't know that I have these two mindsets. All right. So that's what we have for you this week. I want to offer you this cheat sheet of some person-centered powerful questions. I love a good pocketed powerful question when I'm ready to start a session. I'm ready to get coaching. The first question I ask is, what feels important for us to focus on today? That is my way of asking a powerful open-ended question that immediately puts them in the driver's seat. And this is a list of other powerful questions that I found to be useful, and they're organized by what you're trying to do. If you're trying to do goal discovery with someone, if you're asking them to create a vision of the future, if you're curious about their intentions, if you're ready to get started, if you want to reflect, all of them are there for you. Please, please, please check out the link in the description box below. If you're joining us live, we will attach this to the chat, and we'll also send it in our email follow up with the video in it. All right. Well, we'd love to talk to you more about how you can build your person-centered toolkit. Our goal is to help as many practitioners and leaders get access to the skills and tools that support person-centered practices in order to transform human services from the inside out. If you are interested in receiving these 7 tools, please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to have a conversation with you about how you can use these tools to facilitate conversations. We'll give these to you free of charge. Again, our mission at Sankofa is to make sure folks have the tools and resources that they need to really support them in having these person-centered conversations. Well, that's it for this episode. If you have any questions about our training programs or our coaching programs, if you would like to sign up for our newsletter or get more resources, please visit us at www.sankofaleadership.com. And if you heard something or if you have questions, please drop your comment section below and we'll happily reply to them there. And please consider sharing this video with your network to help spread the person-centered approach far and wide. Join us next week when we continue to explore approaches to improve your service delivery methods and strategies to become more person-centered through care, coaching, leadership, and community collaboration. Thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.